Hello and welcome to the Rhythm of Business podcast series. I am your host, Dr. Terry Daniels. I have a guest this morning with Jay Morgan to interview us today, and he is the CEO of Comstasis, located out of Nashville, Tennessee area. And so we're excited to have you this morning, Jay. So really just want to get us started by just giving us a high-level overview of who you are and what you do.
Very good. Happy to do so, Terry. And thank you for having me. So who am I? I'm a tech. I'm an engineer. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just a guy who saw, a need to do things a little bit differently or a little bit better, and saw some issues he wanted to address. And so I jumped in there and figured I wasn't just going to complain. I was going to go ahead and do it. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I've been in the entrepreneurial space for, I don't know, well over a decade now, and yeah, loving it.
So you're sitting around and you're in the tech space, and that's what you've done in your life and career. What inspired you to step into out of the day-to-day world of working with someone, for someone, and then to go into entrepreneurship? What inspired you to take that leap of faith?
Well, I'd say it's a combination of factors. I've always had a little bit of that drive and that bug and desire. And that comes from when I was young. One of my first jobs was interning. And I really learned about technology through that internship that I had with the school system when I was still in high school. And the person that was really leading me and had inspired me actually at one point offered to hire me to work with him, but there was a stipulation that I couldn't compete, which was understandable.
Yeah.
And I actually turned down my first IT offer because because I knew even then that this was something that I kind of had in my blood and wanted to be able to be entrepreneurial and have my own business and do things the way that I felt like they needed to be done. And so, yeah, I've always had that drive to kind of do it for myself. And then along the way, there are certain other things that I kind of ran into and was seeing going on in the environment that made me really want to do things a little bit differently.
Wow. So when you think about going into entrepreneurship, and you think about the listener out there that's contemplating taking this leap, what are those misconceptions about being your own boss, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur? What are some of those misconceptions that they need to consider as they are thinking about this as an opportunity?
Well, I'll just say that people see the good parts of entrepreneurship, and they see when you're receiving accolades or some award. They see when you are reaping the benefits, and maybe you might, from time to time be displaying a certain lifestyle or something that's attractive to people, and people feel like that's entrepreneurship, but that's not entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Right? Entrepreneurship is a grind. Entrepreneurship is a lot of risk. It's a lot of work. People don't see the struggle. And so the misconception is that entrepreneurship is this glorious and wonderful, amazing thing. And it is, right? But it only is if you are driven to do it. And it is if you get your thrill, and if you get your reward from the journey and from the work, because entrepreneurship isn't the destination. It's not selling your company for 7 or 8 figures. Entrepreneurship is the grind up until you get to that point.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what I think that people sometimes misconceive about entrepreneurship. And so it's not for everybody, really. You have to love that grind to be successful in entrepreneurship, because you won't succeed otherwise.
Well, I think you make it very simply stated as that it's a grind. It's a grind, and it's a lot of hard work, and and trying to find that, I'll use the word rhythm all the time. Trying to find that rhythm is not as easy as somebody may think. They're looking from the outside. They see you make your own hours, come in when you want to, do what you want. It looks like it's that, but it's really a grind. How have you been able to stay in the grind, stay in the process, and find balance? Because even that people see, and I know there's a lot of work, and it requires you, maybe you alone many times, doing stuff when everybody else gets to sleep. How do you find that balance? And people call it work-life balance. It's just balance to me. How do you find that balance so that it stays rewarding for you?
Yeah. So that's a good question, Terry. I'm still looking for the answer to that. So I think balance is really a subjective thing. I guess that's what I would say,
Yeah.
is that balance is very subjective. For some people, they would consider my life very unbalanced, probably because it's not for them. And so some people would say, working, on a light day, working 12 hours, that's not for me. Working an average of, probably my average day is almost two of a lot of people's day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I probably work on average of about 14 hours a day.
Wow.
So for a lot of people, that sounds probably unbalanced. But when you actually do love what you do, and when you have a goal and a vision and
Mm.
you're excited about carrying that out, then that doesn't feel as unbalanced as it might to the next person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that, yeah, that balance is very subjective. When you get a lot of reward out of what you do, and work is its own reward, then, and I mean that really, that's like kind of a platitude, I guess, or a pithy saying.
Mhm.
But when it really is, then it doesn't feel so unbalanced to
Yeah.
you. But yeah, you're right. You do need time. You need some downtime. And so, I try to treat myself occasionally. I just came back from a trip abroad for a week. And my work itself involves a lot of travel. And so when I travel, I try and take advantage of that to enjoy at least one evening or
Mhm.
a few hours here and there that I can enjoy something local. And so, yeah, you find out ways to carve some time for yourself when you have the opportunity, um, between where you're trying to achieve.
But I think that's a good point in that, balance really is subjective. And, what looks like work to others may not be work to you because it's a passion. It's connected to something that you really enjoy doing. And, I'm not working hard. I am in my sweet spot. And that's that perfect rhythm that many of us are trying to find. And even as a business owner, you're trying to find that. As you look at your, change over time in your business, it's evolving, I'm sure, and it continues to evolve. And as you grow, you bring a passion to it, but then you have to bring people in because you need more people, and they may not have the same passion. As it evolves, how do you manage this growth? How do you manage that new dynamic that is added to just trying to grow a business from that entrepreneurial start?
Well, that really is the biggest challenge. I tell people that I got into IT because I am great with machines. I understand machines. I know how to make machines work, and machines listen when you tell them what to do. I'm not as good with people. That's why I went into IT instead of HR. But when you start being an entrepreneur, you start having to wear different hats, right? So you can't
Absolutely.
just focus on engineering, even if that's your strong suit. There are other things that you have to learn how to do and be skillful in as well. And so, yeah, that growth has been, probably the biggest challenge is trying to build a really good team. And
Hmm.
so I've had some really good success in finding some people who could see my vision and were able to get on board with that. And then there are always challenges. Sometimes you choose poorly, or things just don't work out. And so and when that happens, it is a struggle because keeping a business running does require a lot of work. And if you're focused too much on getting the assistance that you need, then that's distracting you from what it is that you're actually trying to accomplish and that you and your team
Hmm.
are trying to accomplish. And so, yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle. I find that what we've had to do is really slow down when we go through hiring, so that we can grow in a thoughtful way and get the right people on board.
Absolutely.
Um, we find that there are certain skills and tendencies and characteristics that really lend themselves to the type
Mhm.
of work that we do. And so we've gone from hiring quickly to hiring very slowly, and going through maybe more interviews and group interviews and assessments of the person's personality and whether they're actually going to be a good fit in our environment and take well to and be successful in implementing the skills
Mhm.
that we need them to show. And so I think that by slowing that process down, that's been helpful to us in trying to retain people a little bit better.
And I think that's the key is that, it's just finding the rhythm, finding the dynamics, finding the right people. All the parts must fit, right? And if they're not fitting, it's incumbent upon someone to help them figure out how to fit. Uh, and so again, people people don't do what you want all the time. Machines typically do what you ask them to do, but people just don't for some reason.
They
Uh,
have their own ideas, don't they?
they do for some reason. I figured that out. But
Their own
uh,
goals, and your goals have to align with their goals, right? To an extent. If they
absolutely,
don't, then it's not going to work out.
it's not going to work out, and then it slows down my progress. It slows down what we're trying to do and achieve. So when you think about your business, and where do you see it going? Where do you see yourself taking it? What are your growth plans? What's your future look like as you think about this entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I think the future is bright for our sector. Like technology is not slowing down; it's only speeding up. There's more and more need for it out there, and I feel like the way that we provide the services that we provide is a little different from how it's done by most others in this space, and our clients really appreciate it. And so I feel like we're going to keep growing. We've never done any marketing. We've never had a sales force. We've never, spent on advertisements or anything like that. Like literally most of our growth to date has come from client referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that growth has been coming pretty quickly, about as much as we can handle. So
Oh,
uh,
wow.
at some point, I feel like we're going to probably need to start doing a little bit more marketing or something like that. And then we will.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so for right now, I feel like the growth is coming on pretty well. Um, and so one of the things that we want to do is kind of add to our portfolio and expand the breadth of the offering that we have.
Mm-hmm.
There are some other services that are kind of related to what we do that I feel like it'd be great if we could provide those other services as well. And then focus on being more efficient in how we do business. So there are some areas where I feel like we could be a little bit more efficient by automating a few things
Sure.
that would enable us to really keep growing in a way that's sustainable.
Wow. Wow. Growth is on everybody's radar, and how to do it at the right pace and the right time is certainly what we want to do. Just as a last question, Jay, um, if you're back in that day where you were sort of contemplating what you want to be as you grow up, what do you say to that person that's sitting with that tablet in front of them and or a napkin, and they have this dream of starting a business or going into entrepreneurship? What advice would you give to them that would encourage them in the right direction? What would you say to them if it's Jay, when he was trying to get started?
I would say learn everything you can about business.
Mhm.
Seek out mentors who can provide good advice. And there are great ways to get mentors, even for free. The organization SCORE is an organization that I've
Mhm.
volunteered with for a few years, and they provide free mentoring for aspiring entrepreneurs. That is
Mhm.
something that, you should take advantage of opportunities like that. Find
Mhm.
entrepreneurship centers where you can be
Yes.
surrounded by people who have that same kind of drive and
Mhm.
that same kind of passion, and you can feed on that. You can feed on one another, really. And then learn everything you can. So that's been a big thing for me is taking advantage of any kind of symposium that I can get into, or any kind of, because I understand a lot about IT engineering, but there are a
Mhm.
lot of topics out there where I'm less skilled and less familiar. And so anytime that I can take in information on marketing, or take in information on how to manage HR or other business processes, then I'm all about that. And so never stop learning, not just about what it is that interests you, not just about your passion. If I just learned about IT, it wouldn't be a very
Yeah.
successful
Yeah.
business, right? I already know that, and I still need to keep learning about it, but there are a lot of other things where maybe I'm a little bit weaker, where I find that I need to keep increasing my skills. So
Wow.
never stop learning, even the things that don't necessarily interest you. They're going to be very
Mhm.
vital. And have a good business plan. That's the other thing, is really business isn't just about doing what it is that you love to do. It's about finding a way to monetize that and
Yes.
offer a service that people actually want, that has value to people. And then figuring out how to price that. All of those things really go into your business plan. And so have a solid business plan before you even get off the ground. And then you can save yourself a lot of pain.
Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome, Jay. Thank you so much for just your wisdom and your experiences that you've shared with the audience. To the audience, this is Jay Morgan, the CEO of Comstasis, located out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. They're doing great work in the internet networking space. And so reach out to them and find out more about them. So thank you so much to the audience. We hope you come back and listen to another interview in our series, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry.